And I'm calling to order the regular Board of Education meeting for Indian Prairie School District 204 on Monday, July 13th, 2026. Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Donahue?
Here.
Mr. Rising?
Here.
Ms. Gentz?
Here.
And Mr. Bernard?
Here.
We have a quorum. Mr. Bernard, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
No. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next regular board meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 11th. It is now time for public comment. 60 minutes is allowed for public comment, and each person is limited to 3 minutes. When addressing the board, we ask that you respect the confidentiality and safety of our students and school district personnel. We also ask that those addressing the board be cognizant that this is an open meeting and is available to all age groups, and as such, ask that you consider who the audience members are this evening and keep comments age appropriate. Public comment represents the voice and opinion of the speaker. There will be no feedback from the board members during the meeting, but follow-up will be provided by an administrator as appropriate. Although this is not required, it is helpful for the board to know whether the comments and concerns we hear are being raised by residents. So we ask that you state if you live in the district and if you currently have children in our schools. Tonight we have 9 speakers. The first is Alicia Smith.
Hello, my name is Alicia Smith. I graduated and grew up in the district. I own a house around the corner from my parents. I also taught in the district for 13 years, and my nephews and my niece attend school in the district. All of the data in this public comment about annual average daily traffic, AADT, comes from the Illinois Department of Transportation's website, gettingaroundillinois.com. When will the 204 School Board and administration stop showing negative bias toward our neighborhood? 4 years ago, 204 showed negative bias by insisting that all of our middle school students that live less than 1.5 miles from Fisher had to walk and would not receive busing. This elimination of busing was only for our neighborhood. Other Fisher students who are less than 1.5 miles are currently receiving busing. Students who live in either Tamarack or Stonebridge and are less than 1.5 miles to Crone or Granger are receiving busing. Our neighborhood is unfairly singled out. Our neighborhood also has the most dangerous walk to school for 204 middle schoolers. Our walk alongside Eola Road to Fisher Middle School has an AADT of 18,600 vehicles between Dorothy Drive and Montgomery Road. In May, I brought it to the district's attention that they were using an incorrect AADT from 2020. The district continued to show a negative bias toward our neighborhood. 204 stated that the IDOT data may be inaccurate and that they would wait to verify it during the following school year. In the last 4 years, 204 has done almost 20 serious safety evaluations. They did not take steps to verify IDOT's data for any of those evaluations except for our neighborhoods, for the purpose of continuing to deny us busing. We have the most dangerous walk for a 204 middle schooler. Our kids have to walk alongside Eola Road between Montgomery Road and Fisher Middle School. This section of Eola has an AADT of 37,800 vehicles. That is higher than the AADT of westbound Ogden Avenue, and it is higher than the AADT of Route 59 south of 95th Street. The maximum given in the IDOT guidebook is 15,000 vehicles. Eola's Road's 37,800 vehicles is more than doubled that maximum given. That higher traffic volume is compressed into a much smaller space and road than either Ogden or Route 59, making walking alongside Eola even more dangerous. Then danger increases when one accounts for the 2 curves containing signage and barricades. 204 needs to stop showing an unfair bias toward our neighborhood. Our kids deserve safety and busing for the 2026-2027 school year. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Veronica Andrade.
Good evening. My name is Veronica Andrade. I have children who both attend Gombard Elementary and Fisher Middle School. I'm speaking to you today to ask that the district provide an updated safety evaluation for the students who use Eola Road as their walk route to school. The most recent evaluation is from 2022. In that evaluation, the data used does not accurately reflect the current numbers for a typical school day. The current data is higher than what is currently being used on that evaluation. When inserting the current IDOT data on the safety evaluation, those points awarded would qualify students who use Eola Road as a walk route school for busing. As a neighborhood, we communicated this information to the district and requested that the district provide an updated safety evaluation that uses the most recent and current data for Eola Road. To date, the district has not yet provided an updated evaluation. As a parent, I asked the question, why is the district choosing not to use the current data on the safety evaluation? The district includes this data in the safety evaluations for every other neighborhood. Why is the district forcing students to continue to walk an unsafe route to school when the data clearly states that that is dangerous? This information can easily be obtained before the start of the new school year. If student safety is a district priority, it would make sense to obtain that information so that way bus eligibility can be determined. Why is the district using data from 2022 to determine the safety hazard evaluation for Eola Road in 2026? Why is the district unable to provide an updated evaluation before the 2026-27 school year? Colony Lakes and surrounding neighborhoods has a high percentage of families and community members who relentlessly support our teachers and our students by donating our time and resources during and outside school hours. We are committed to advocating for what is best for our students and our community, especially when it comes to student safety. I ask that the district match this same energy that we provide and we bring in supporting our schools to decisions that affect the safety of our children. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Paul Smith.
Good evening. I am here to express my concern not only for my grandchildren, but all the kids that have to traverse that stretch of walkway, let's say from Keating to Ogden. It's 4 lanes. I travel that every day. No one, absolutely no one, and I can say this with certainty, no one obeys that speed limit, which is supposed to be 35. I mean, it's just, to have these kids have to walk that stretch is an accident waiting to happen. And personally, I just feel it's unconscionable that the school district would not address that, and that we have to have this meeting as parents, grandparents, to express our concern. And I just feel that it is the responsibility of the school district to take some action to just provide busing for these kids, because it's just an accident waiting to happen. And to me, that would be the responsible thing to do. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The next speaker is Amy Benvon.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Amy Bavone. I'm also here to speak about the safety on Eola Road and the busing. I have a 10-year-old son. He's about to go into 5th grade and will be at Fisher Middle School next year. I cannot imagine having him walk down Eola Road, or any of our children in our community. Have you ever walked down Eola Road? Would you want to walk down there when it's raining, when it's icy? Nobody shovels the sidewalks for these poor kids. I have seen people crash into the wall. I have seen people crash into homes What if my child was there, or any of these other children, or any of the kids in our subdivision? I don't understand why nothing is being done. Why is it only our subdivision that's being singled out? I can give you all the data, all the facts, but everybody has done that before me. So I come up before you asking, please, think about our kids. I don't understand why it's so difficult to look at the data. It's all there. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Owen Martin.
Hello, my name is Owen Martin, and next year I will be a student at Fisher Middle School. My family lives in the Meadows subdivision, and there is no busing in our area. In my words, I think that walking across Montgomery and Yola is very dangerous because there is a lot of traffic, and there's always cars driving over the speed limit there. And that makes it very unsafe for people who are walking on the sidewalk and us people who are walking to Fisher and might get hit by a car if it speeds off the road when it's icy out. And I hope the district gives us busing so my friends and family can get there safely. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Leslie Pritkelis.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Leslie Pritkelis. I currently have a senior at Waubonsie Valley High School and a 7th grader at Fisher Middle School. I am here to respectfully ask you to reconsider transportation for my daughter who attends Fisher Middle School. What is so difficult for our family to understand is that my son, who attends school directly across the street from my daughter's school, qualifies for bus transportation while my daughter does not. It is hard to understand how two children attending schools essentially in the same location can have such different transportation options. The bus for Waubonsie Valley stops at both corners of my block, which only contains 3 homes. My concern is not convenience, it is safety. My daughter has an IEP for ADHD and extreme anxiety. Last school year, as a 6th grader, she weighed only about 70 pounds. And asking her to travel alone along a roadway with an average annual daily traffic count of nearly 37,800 vehicles is a risk that deeply concerns me as a parent. Last year, while walking home from school, she became so overwhelmed that she called 911 because she didn't think she could make it home. Imagine getting that phone call from the Aurora Police Department asking if I was the mother of Lacey Pritkelis. It was frightening and heartbreaking. No student should feel that frightened or unsafe simply trying to get home from school. I understand that transportation policies are designed to serve many families fairly. However, policies cannot account for every child's unique circumstances. My daughter's IEP, her anxiety, and her small stature, and the reality of the heavily trafficked route she must travel make this situation different. I am simply asking the board to consider the whole child, not just the mileage on a map. I believe every student deserves a safe path to and from school, and I respectfully ask you to approve bus transportation for my daughter and all the other children in the Colony Lakes subdivision. Thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you. The next speaker is Audrey Martin.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I also live in this neighborhood here. I am the mom of Owen, who just spoke, and his twin brother, Reed, who will be attending Fisher next year. I think Owen said it very well. As was mentioned before, I have a child who has a 504. He does not qualify for an IEP, but he has impairments in his executive and cognitive functioning, and the fact that he is being told that he needs to get to school by walking across Montgomery and down Eola is a real safety concern. Owen and his brother love riding their bikes. They would love nothing more than to have the freedom to get to school on their own and walk or ride their bikes. But as a parent, my children are my greatest investment, and I cannot allow the risk. I'm asking the board to please reconsider take into account the safety of our children. I understand there are budgeting issues, as Ms. Donahue let me know in an email. However, our children are our greatest resource, and there is always room in the budget when it comes to safety. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Anushka Sampath Kumar.
Good evening, board members, community members, and welcome Superintendent Price. We are honored and excited to have you in District 204. My name is Anushka Sampath Kumar, and I am a rising senior at Mattia Valley High School, as well as a member of Accelerate Climate Solutions, a local nonprofit dedicated to building the next generation of youth climate leaders. I am proud to be a student in District 204 because of its history for caring for the needs of its students and the actions taken to make their voices heard. That is why I'm here today to discuss the greatest threat to the future of the students you are so dedicated to helping educate: climate change. Climate change is something that is so crucial to discuss and is not something that we can just ignore. As a member of Accelerate Climate Solutions, I see so many individuals working to combat climate change in every way that they can, whether that be through advocacy, upcycling, or innovating. We do not have endless money or endless time, but we make what we have count in our investment in our future. As a result of what I've witnessed, I truly believe that with the position of authority and power comes the responsibility to take action, just as so many people without authority or power have been doing. Decarbonizing District 204 starts by adding it to the strategic plan. The current strategic plan outlines 4 main goals on which the district will focus time and funding towards. I, along with many other students, including the ones that you see here tonight, am asking that we make carbon emission reduction one of these goals. If carbon emission reduction was a priority goal for our district, this would lead us directly to our next step, creating a carbon action plan. To do this, we would start by doing a greenhouse gas inventory to find where our highest carbon outputs are from. Using this data, a consultant could then help us create attainable, growth-focused goals and plans personalized to our district. This goal of creating a carbon action plan is highly realistic and could lead to massive reductions in our contributions to climate change. There are so many districts who have done this and laid the groundwork for us to follow, including District 203. District 203's carbon action plan clearly states its goals of cutting greenhouse gas emissions by 53% by 2035 and reaching net zero by 2050. These are goals being implemented right now in our own community, and we should feel inspired and motivated to do the same in our own schools. Once again, we ask that carbon emission reduction be stated as a priority goal in our district's strategic plan in order to take action against climate change and inspire other districts to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Vanessa Soto.
Good afternoon. My name is Vanessa. Sorry about that. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I actually live in the neighborhood. My oldest has gone through District 204. My youngest is currently going to be an 8th grader at Fisher Middle. I live in Colony Lakes along with many of my neighbors. My neighbors have done a really good job of doing logistics and statistics. I wanted to talk a little bit more about developmental and how, as a district, we should look at this in many different manners, not only logistics. I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 13 years, including for this district. I wanted to talk about key cognitive drivers related to what middle schoolers have related to cognitive and behavior challenges. So key cognitive drivers for middle schoolers as it relates to their processing of information is such that they're able to cross the street safely overall for a bit, right? But they have a struggle with executive functioning to complex environments. They possess the logical maturity to judge traffic, but they have a problem where it comes to processing speed. Middle schooler possess the motor skills and visual acuity, but their information processing speed is still developing compared to adults. They can generally assess moving traffic and identify safe crossing gaps, though they rely more heavily on vehicle distance instead of vehicle speed. Their attention span is easily fractured by external stimuli, and if they're distracted by friends, electronic devices, headphones, then this sensation to their attention drastically drops. Related to behavioral challenges, they also lack impulse control, which is still developing. And although the risk of perception improves with age, that prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for impulse control and long-term decision-making, is still maturing, as we all know. They are prone to sudden, impulsive crossing. And sensation-seeking, adolescents and middle schoolers engage in riskier behaviors overall due to their elevated sensation and tendencies to peer pressure compared to younger children, especially in a larger group of friends. They have an illusion of invincibility, and middle schoolers often overestimate a driver's ability to see them, leading them into traffic prematurely with the assumption that the cars will see them. We are not asking for more. We are asking for what is fair. We are asking for equity. We are asking for safety. And we cannot just continue to look at numbers and say that we are denying based on numbers. We need to look at the whole picture. This is District 204, and everybody is an educator. The way that these students are developing needs to be a factor, including the traffic. And these statistics are based
Ms.
on a middle
Donahue, the
schooler
speaker's time has ended.
that does not have
Thank you.
impairment.
Thank you very much. We are now moving to our consent agenda and superintendent report. We will start with the superintendent report. Dr. Price.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Donahue. Before I start my superintendent's report, I just want to say a word of thanks to the board members for your trust and confidence in me. This is my first meeting. Thank you, Anushka, for the warm welcome. I appreciate that. And also thank you to my colleagues, members of the cabinet here, and Ms. Carter for the warm welcome that I've received over the past 9 days, I think. Been on the job, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. My update on the first area of the strategic plan, focus on student development. The district's data and research department has prepared a new draft report focusing on school climate and health. The new profile report is being viewed now by the assistant superintendents and in its final formal assist them in preparations for the new school year. Summer Bridge program begins this week at the high schools. This is for 8th graders rising into 9th grade to support their transition into our high schools. Extended school year, or ESY, ended last Thursday with a talent show at both the middle and the high school levels to celebrate the end of a successful program. Middle schools and other levels are well into finalizing student schedules to provide for a positive student experience on the first day of school in the coming year. Camp Invention is our STEM camp that's held at Georgetown Elementary. That ended on June 30th. We had just under 200 students in attendance for this 2-week exploratory program. And towards the end of the school year, in partnership with Naperville Neighbors United, IPSD hosted New York Times bestselling author Dashka Slater for a student program centering on her book, Accountable. It prompted meaningful dialogue about digital citizenship, online harm, accountability, empathy, and belonging. And the district continues to work with Ms. Slater to expand this learning and identify future opportunities for student engagement. In the area of invest in staff, new hire orientations have begun, and new administrators are beginning their orientation on the 22nd for their formal orientation, and all of our new administrators have also been assigned a mentor to assist in their transition into their new role. We have a teaching assistant job fair, or rather we had a teaching assistant job fair on the 25th of June. That was a big success. We had 10 hiring supervisors there to interview more than 80 licensed applicants. Middle school leadership retreat was held in mid-June with a follow-up to occur on the 23rd in preparation for the opening day with teachers and the first day of school with students. And institute planning is in high gear, preparing for the District Institute Day on August 13th. Special education leadership team completed a mini retreat last week to reflect on the past year and finalize their strategic plans for the upcoming school year. And district leaders attended the Culturize Institute, focused on school climate and culture. Lots of professional development happening over the summer through the Healing Illinois grant. Approximately 55 staff members participated in an extended restorative practices learning experience. And so far this summer, we've had 595 registered participants in the IPSD Academy courses that are offered online over the summer for our staff. In the area of engagement with the community, the superintendent is collaborating with the communications department to prepare summer staff and community welcome video messaging. The Healing Illinois grant also supported Homeward, Finding Our Place, a community performance and facilitated dialogue at Matia. Was focused on identity, culture, migration, belonging, and the meaning of home. The event continued and strengthened the district's relationship with Naperville Neighbors United, whose partnership has helped us to support the facilitation and connect the district with the Mandala South Asian Performing Arts Center. Communications Department is reviewing the Superintendent Transition Survey related to communications and preparing recommendations for future action. Finally, in the area of optimized resources and operations, the DMG PRISM process, we've completed phase 1 of our initiatives inventory, identifying over 200 district initiatives for further analysis. Phase 2 training is taking place last week and this week. I did mine this past week. It was very good. Thank you, Lewis. And that will focus on cost data analysis. Our team is also in the early planning stages for phase 3 training that will build the principal initiative survey. Our IT teams are moving to the new Prairie Lake court location. Just directly this way, I think, right? If I'm oriented correctly. Maybe this way?
Yeah.
All right. If you're at home, it's off to my right. Most significant work, so relocating this week and moving some of our staff out of Still to give some of that real estate back to the middle school there, which is that way. Summer 2026, I'm going to stop that right now. Capital work continues to move forward on schedule. Most significant work is at Waubonsie Valley, Neuqua Valley, and security improvements at 11 other schools. Smaller projects include 4 new playgrounds, the final phase of elementary school flooring, and continued work on LED lighting installation. I've had the chance to tour some of this work, especially at Waubonsie and Neuqua, and it's incredibly impressive, this community's investments in our schools, so we appreciate that. Every summer, Indian Prairie works with our local law enforcement and emergency response partners to provide training opportunities to district administrators and other staff. This year's training will be on July 29th and focus on student and family reunification. The Naperville Police Department has also used our buildings this summer to facilitate summer training events for their teams. So we certainly have a vested interest in them being as familiar as possible with our buildings. With that, Chair, I turn it back over to you, and unless there's any questions, comments for me.
Okay, I now need a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items D through L.
I move that the Board of Education approve consent agenda items D through L as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, Michelle, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Gentz,
Yes.
Mr. Rising,
Yes.
Mr. Bernard,
Yes.
and Ms. Donahue.
Yes, the motion passes. We'll now have a presentation from Ms. Lisa Berry regarding communications update.
Good evening, President Donahue, board members, and Dr. Price. Thank you for the opportunity to present our communications update this evening. This presentation frames our progress through the lens of Strategic Plan Priority 3 in alignment with relevant board policies, including policies 8:10 through 8:90. Our agenda tonight includes a review of our Strategic Plan Priority 3 milestones. We'll cover the communications framework supporting our recent successful superintendent search. We will also look at the ongoing initiatives for Safer, Stronger 204, provide an overview of digital accessibility and our actions related to regulatory compliance, and conclude with our current plan for the 26-27 school year. Our work in the Communications Department primarily focuses on Strategic Plan Priority 3. With the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, the Communications Department has successfully completed all assigned initiatives under Priority 3. This includes completion of school spotlight videos for all 34 schools, formalizing our volunteer program, implementing our two-way communications app, and expanding our sponsorship revenue. Once again, we want to express our sincere gratitude to all our partners, donors, and sponsors. Thanks to the extraordinary efforts of Jeannie Dyna, our former Assistant Director of Community Relations, our network expanded to nearly 130 partners and sponsors last year. A highlight of these collaborations was the increase in partnerships related to our 4th annual Mental Health and Wellness Symposium, with the Indian Prairie Educational Foundation serving as our presenting sponsor. We also partnered with 3 neighboring school districts, East Aurora 131, Naperville 203, and Oswego 308, and significantly expanded our reach, delivering mental health and wellness resources to over 800 attendees. The Indian Prairie Educational Foundation also supported hundreds of at-risk students and families through the Kid Essentials Fund, and the Indian Prairie Parents Council supported multiple programs throughout the year, most notably the Families Helping Families program, which also supports at-risk students and families. We also extend our appreciation to Rival 5 Technologies for sponsoring our safety initiatives. Their generosity enabled us to offer safety contest prizes across all 3 school levels and recognize students and staff who demonstrate exceptional safety practices. Rival 5's support played a vital role in engaging our community and reinforcing that school safety is a shared responsibility. We also recognize the ongoing commitment of Green State Credit Union for their generous sponsorship of our district-wide volunteer program, the Rotary Club of Naperville for their continued support of our students and staff through their Community Services Grant, Scholarship Program, and Paul Harris Fellow Awards, and DuPage Credit Union for their support of our staff recognition and engagement efforts. We are thankful to all our sponsors, donors, and partners. It is through their continued dedication and unwavering support that we ensure the success, growth, and well-being of our students and staff. Our community is diverse, and so too is our audience's communications preferences. We utilize several communications channels to disseminate information to our community in hopes of reaching our entire audience through their preferred platform. Our direct outreach to our district families is robust, with over 2 million emails delivered district-wide from the district office during the 25-26 school year. Over the past year, our website drew over 2 million views, while our Facebook content generated over 680,000 views. We are also heavily active on Instagram and Twitter, or X, and our YouTube channel had over 149,000 views with over 5,000 hours of watch time. Our highest engagement continues to be at the start of the school year and during forecasted weather events that may impact school closures. A unique learning we found in these analytics is that our social media viewers are most engaged on Tuesday evenings between 9 and 10 p.m. We're looking at how we can use this time to increase our viewership. For example, we have in the past sent our weekly update on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. So we could look at changing to sending on a Tuesday and then distributing the link later that evening on social media for greater viewership. The most public-facing project of the Communications Department this past year was supporting HYA in ensuring transparency and community voice during the superintendent search. We deployed over 120 communication touchpoints and proactively invited 22 diverse stakeholder groups in the focus groups. We also hosted 4 open forums for our staff and the community. Throughout the process, we maintained a dedicated web page for the superintendent search that housed all critical information, including the search timeline, survey links, messages from our board president, and the leadership profile report. After Dr. Price was named, we also maintained a transition web page containing Dr. Price's bio, press coverage, and survey links. Transparency in our Safer, Stronger 204 initiative remains a core focus for our communications department. Our 2 primary channels for communicating updates with our community is through our semi-annual report and the Safer, Stronger 204 webpage. Both resources offer comprehensive insights for each project, featuring project summaries, budget dashboards, photo galleries, timelines, and related board actions. Shifting focus now to an important regulatory and ethical priority is digital accessibility. Digital accessibility means ensuring that people of all abilities have equal, proactive access to our digital content without having to ask for accommodation. This impacts everything from our websites and social media to our online forums and e-newsletters. While the 1973 Rehabilitation Act and the 1990 Americans with Disability Act set the foundation for physical and general accommodations, the federal government's 2024 final rule amending Title II of the ADA established strict, specific compliance requirements for public entities regarding digital spaces. It is important to note that the legal framework does outline practical exceptions. Compliance mandates generally exclude pre-existing social media content, archived web content, clearly labeled as such, individualized password-protected documents, and any specific scenario where compliance would result in an undue burden or fundamental alteration of the services. However, our goal remains maximum accessibility wherever possible. To ensure our digital content is accessible for all users, we follow the Website Content Accessibility Principles. Developed by the World Wide Web Consortium as part of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, these principles break down how to make digital content accessible to everyone, including people with vision, hearing, motor, or cognitive disabilities. The first principle we look at is whether the content is perceivable, and we ask, are we relying solely on color to convey the information? So imagine a parent who has a visual impairment and is filling out a registration form. They miss a required field and the border of the required field turns red, but the individual can't perceive the color differentiation and has no way of knowing which field has the error. The second principle is whether the content is operable. An example of this would be what we call keyboard traps caused by a modal pop-up. So imagine a parent is navigating our website using only a keyboard or an assistive technology device that mimics a keyboard, and while on our homepage, a pop-up appears. The user uses the tab key to try to reach the X at the top of the pop-up block to close the window, but the cursor remains trapped behind the pop-up. The third is understandable. This would be a website error without an explanation. So imagine a user is filling out a form, and when they hit submit, they get an error message, but there's no indication of what on the page actually caused the error. And the final principle is robust, which refers to improper HTML coding that doesn't function as intended. An example of this would be a stylized button that isn't coded properly, so it looks like a button, but it doesn't function as one with a screen reader. For those of us, it's gonna play.
This is Mark Sutton from the University of California.
Sorry. For those of us who navigate digital spaces primarily by sight, it can be hard to visualize the barriers of a poorly designed web page, the barriers that a poorly designed web page creates. This is a 3.5-minute video that features Mark Sutton from the University of California demonstrating a screen reader. It is a fantastic example of what happens when we do or don't apply these accessibility principles.
California, San Francisco's IT Web Services
This is Mark
Department.
Sutton from the University of California, San
Here today with a
Francisco's
brief tour of
IT Web Services Department. Here today
I'm a
with a
blind
brief
person who's
tour
been
of
using
screen reading
readers,
technology.
Braille writers, scanning
I'm a blind
equipment,
person who has been
other
using
adaptive
screen
technologies
readers,
since my childhood.
braille writers,
What a screen reader
scanning
does
equipment,
is, for example,
other
I can
adaptive
read
technologies since my childhood.
this page.
What a screen reader does is, for example, I'm going to start to read this page.
And what
Link,
I will
University of
now
California, San Francisco, link, about
is
UCSF, link, search UCSF. And what I will now do is slow down the speech rate.
Rate 80%,
75%, 70%, 65, 60%, 55%, 50%, 45%, 40%. Link, UCSF Medical Center.
So as I was about to say, a screen reader converts what's on a computer screen into information that can be displayed through synthetic speech or Braille output. And it does that by allowing you to use a computer instead of a mouse, a computer keyboard instead of a mouse. You can also use a Braille display as an input device.
End of navigation.
And what it does is it cleverly determines what's on the screen and presents you that information in a way that would allow for efficient navigation of these pages. So for example, I could just keep reading.
Banner 3 items. Visited, link, image, home.
Line by line, and we could be here all day. Or I could jump to the first heading on the page.
Heading level 2. Search for heading level 2. You are here. Heading level 1. Make videos accessible.
So as I'm moving down through the page, I can look for the category that interests me. And I'm just using commands built into the screen reader. So that's all a pretty simple description of what a screen reader is all about. Now I'm going to go over and show a few examples of how that can fall apart. So I have a couple graphics on this page.
Mark Sutton hands on the MacBook Pro image.
So the first one is well described and uses an alt tag.
You are currently on it.
To describe what that graphic is all about. Now we go to the next graphic.
Reader 042116.jpg.
Much less useful. So it's important to use those elements. It's also true for tables. So I'm going to move to a table.
FDA approved medications. Table, 3 columns, 5 rows. FDA approved medications.
So the table is pretty self-explanatory, and I'm going to move into the table.
Medicine. Approved. Column 2 of 3.
And then if I go down into the table.
Medicine. Tolbutamide.
And as I move across.
Approved. 1975. Column 2 of 3.
We're getting the labels for the column headers and row headers. So it's important when programming tables, forms, and other elements on the web pages to use the proper HTML codes. I'll go to the
table 3 columns.
Second table on the page.
Medicine. Row 2 of 5 tolbutamide.
And as I'm in the table, I move across it.
Row November 1995.
I get a date, but I don't know what that date is associated with. So it's important, as I was saying, to include proper coding tags for all these elements. These are just a few highlights of a screen reader's capabilities and some of the ways in which the experience can fall short for a blind user.
So this video underscores the direct impact our communications department and all digital content creators have on the digital experience of our community. We were informed of the digital accessibility changes in early 2025-26 school year and immediately took action to meet the initial federal compliance deadline, which was April 24th, 2026. We formed an official accessibility committee. The team includes myself, our Chief Technology Officer, Rod Mack, representatives from every department at the district office, school administrators from each level, and a vision and hearing itinerant. Together, we conducted website audits to map out our remediation needs, prioritizing content that will most heavily be viewed during this upcoming school year. To support accessibility efforts, we created user guides for content creators and launched a Web Wednesdays webinar series focused on practical accessibility strategies. We also designed accessible templates for presentations and memos, alongside web templates for external clubs and activities, bringing more of our digital footprint into alignment with federal standards. Finally, we built a staff intranet, which not only serves as a central hub for accessibility training and resources, but also provides a secure, password-protected space for all district departments to share internal information. As we look to the upcoming school year, our current plan includes continuing our digital accessibility work as we actively prepare for the new federal compliance deadline, which as of today is April 27th, 2027. We will also be fully supporting Dr. Price in his community engagement efforts and assisting with the development of our district's next strategic plan. We are committed to enhancing and standardizing our safety communication protocols. We created templates for various school-based communication scenarios, such as a hold in place and teach or a secure building and teach. The templates will provide standard definitions for these protocols and help families understand what is involved in each. Expanding our community partner program, we want to be more intentional about how we develop our partnerships. Rather than soliciting businesses for individual projects, we would like to provide broader options to partners and let them choose how they partner with us. We will involve Brian Giovannini for internships and Trudy Ranson for IPF opportunities, to name a few, and work with organizations on a mutually beneficial partnership. It's an exciting time for our district, and we're committed to transparent, accessible, and effective communication every step of the way. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you. Ms. Gentz.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I have to be honest, it's a little weird not having Jeannie right next to you, but
it is, isn't it?
But no, you did a wonderful job. I appreciate this presentation. And I think that, you know, I appreciate what you were saying towards the end, because really my biggest question was the community partnership element of it, because I know a lot of those, as you stated, were cultivated by Jeannie. So it sounds like we'll be keeping a lot of the same ones and then looking to actually partner with new ones in different ways. Is that?
Yes.
Am I hearing that? Okay.
Yes, our goal would be to keep the community partners that we have and then expand and grow and identify those organizations and companies that we'd like to work with,
Mhm.
and then start to tailor some sponsorships that would meet their needs as well.
Wonderful. And then I did want to say a couple thank yous and then a quick, easy question. But thank you so much. Honestly, this year, as you stated, there were so many huge things that had to be communicated out regularly, and the amount of thoughtfulness and care that was put into all of that, especially our superintendent search. Getting feedback was instrumental in helping make the decision. So thank you for all of that, because I know it also was not easy. And then Safer, Stronger 204, I love the updates you guys give. My question was, there are a lot of schools that do their own kind of individual updates. Obviously, I refer more to Waubonsie, as I see that regularly as a parent. But are those shared then on a district level too, like the ones that the principals might do or someone else from the school?
We have not done as good of a job of that recently, but
Mhm.
yes, when we see those, we try to share those as we are able.
Awesome. No, I think that's great, because it is such an in-depth look too, as you're walking through the schools, that, you know, the hallways are gone, everything is gone. So thank you again for everything that you do and continue to do, and I look forward to seeing what the communications team kind of looks like this coming year.
Thank you.
Mr. Rising.
Slide 9. So the 2024 disability right update on Title II of the American for Disabilities Act. I'm assuming that was significant work because you dedicated 3 slides to it following. Was that, and you don't have to give me numbers or anything, but was it a significant cost and time commitment from multiple different staff members?
So the time commitment was primarily around the committee meetings, and then those individuals worked on various things outside of the committee. The cost related to our website platform, Final Site, which we've had in place already. The website platform is fully accessible, and so it is a templated system, and as long as we stick within the templates, our website does remain accessible. That is one of the factors that we used when evaluating that platform when we switched over, is their robust accessibility pieces.
And the reason I asked primarily was because I'm assuming the federal government didn't give us extra money to comply to the update of the American for Disabilities Act. So all the school districts that are financially, you know, have very tight budgets, you know, we were expected to do that, dedicate the time, the staff, the resources to comply with that.
Yeah, so the only differentiating factor is the size of the community that the school district serves.
Yeah.
So districts that serve communities over 50,000 are adhering to the 2027 deadline. School districts that serve communities under 50,000 have an additional year, and their deadline is 2028.
That's the only real question I had. I look forward to the superintendent community engagement updates, the strategic plan and safety communication updates, and and just a personal thank you to all the partners, because I see them constantly reaching out to us as a district. Whenever I'm out in the community, they stop us and say what a great relationship they have with our district. So thank you to you and your staff and cabinet for working with our partners, and thanks for everything they do. So that's it.
Mr. Bernard, do you have any questions or comments?
I do not, but I will just give another thank you for just the community partnerships and everything along those lines, but nothing further from me here.
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I know this was a lot of work, and I echo the comments that were made. I know we kept you extremely consumed this past year with all of the work on the superintendent and the work that was going on in the buildings with the referendum money and things, but you were invaluable on helping us with the superintendent search. I mean, I felt like, I don't know where we would have been without having your help and support. I mean, it was really an incredible amount of work and really pulled in a lot of extremely valuable information from the community, very transparent process, and with a ton of communication. So I personally, as well as the board, really want to thank you for all of that hard work, and I know it was very consuming for you on top of your regular stuff that you do.
Thank you.
I also wanted to point out to the audience or whatever that if you go back and look at our consent agenda, it does have the approval of our donations and funding that came into the district this year, and it really is amazing amount of money, and I know that's also a lot of work to talk to different companies and inspire them to help our district. But it's an impressive list, and I know it's grown dramatically over the last couple of years with Jeannie's support and your support, and I just welcome that, and I'm very thankful to our community and our surrounding businesses for helping us bring that into our district and help with a lot of very valuable programming for us. So thank you for everything, and look forward to the coming year, because I know we'll have lots to work on too. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any updates on legislative advocacy and Board of Education update? No, there's, tomorrow morning there's a board president's meeting for DuPage school boards, so I will participate in that, and it's always an interesting set of discussions, but I guess with that, I need a motion and a second.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.